The National Electoral Council of Venezuela held the ceremony of adjudication and proclamation of positions to the deputies elected on May 25th, regional and legislative polls. The foreign ministry stated that Beijing is willing to deepen friendships and enhance cooperation with friends from around the world. And Israeli troops attacked an area around a humanitarian aid distribution point in Rafah. Hello and welcome to From the South. My name is Belén de los Santos. I'm from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Tuesday, the National Electoral Council of Venezuela held the ceremony of adjudication and proclamation of positions to the deputies elected on the May 25th regional and legislative polls. During the act, the president of the electoral body, Elvis Amoroso, expressed his gratitude to the Venezuelan people for their discipline during Sunday's polls, highlighting they once again shows their civic spirit and commitment to peace. Likewise, Amoroso thanked the armed forces for guaranteeing the peace on Election Day with the deployment of the Republic Operation. In this context, the body ratified the victory of the ruling coalition, the Great Patriotic Poll Simón Bolívar, with 83.42% of the votes, together with the positions of the coalition's 253 elected deputies.
Today we celebrate a moment of special significance for our democracy with the act of proclamation that takes place in this board of the National Electoral Council in compliance with the provisions of our Constitution and laws, formalizing the awarding of the positions of deputies to the National Assembly with the national awarding list, and simultaneously acts of proclamation are carried out in each of the states of the country to formalize the elected state governors.
In this context, after counting 99.88% of the polling stations, the Electoral Authority reaffirmed the resounding victory of the Great Patriotic Poll in Sunday's regional and elective elections with more than 5 million votes.
With a total figure of 99.88% of the polling stations counted, and a turnout of 43.18% of eligible voters, the Electoral Board reports the following results. The Alliance of the Great Patriotic Poll obtained 5,240,475 votes, representing 83.42% of the total number of votes. The Great Patriotic Poll Alliance obtained 253 seats of deputies to the National Assembly. The Democratic Alliance obtained 13 seats of deputies to the National Assembly. The UNDC United Alliance obtained 11 seats of deputies to the National Assembly.
And during the ceremony led by the main authorities of the National Electoral Council, 29 opposition deputies officially received their credentials as parliamentarians for the next legislative period, 2025-2031. It is worth mentioning that all the elected representatives of the opposition were men. Among the politicians present were Bernabe Gutierrez from the Democratic Alliance, Enrique Capriles Rodonsky from the Única Un Nuevo Tiempo Alliance, Antonio Carri from the Pencil Alliance, and David Uzcategui from Fuerza Vecinal. Other members of the different oppositions also attended the event. This action shows the recognition of all the political sectors of the country to the institutionality of the highest electoral entity. We now move on to other topics. Protests continued in Panama as various unions and social groups urge the national government to open a dialogue and respect the population's social rights. On other days of protest, Thousands of citizens demanded changes to state policies, including pension reform. A union of independent lawyers stated that the executive and the National Assembly are responsible for resolving the situation and called for legislation to promote equitable development within the rule of law. The protest, which was also joined by university students, continues in different parts of the country 1 month after it began. Nicaragua highlights the Production and Consumption Plan 2025-2026, which consolidates the creative and entrepreneurial model of Nicaraguan families. The president of the Central Bank of Nicaragua, Ovidio Reyes, indicated that the project supports 6 main objectives, such as food security and animal and plant health. The plan provides details about local entrepreneurship and trade, followed by export science and technology, with the objective of strengthening the zones of production and preserving the natural resources. The program also supports small and medium-sized producers, as well as micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. And Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley has announced that she will lead the Barbados Labour Party, the BLP, in the next general elections. The announcement was made on Saturday during a rally to celebrate the party's victory in the St. James North by-election. The BLP leader told supporters that although she said in 2022 that the current term would be her last, she said it under true stress. But now the gravity of national and global challenges and the widespread appeals from citizens across the country have compelled her to remain.
That was going to be my last time. I did so because I had just gone through 8 or 9 months, not even so much, 6 months, 7 months of true stress. There is no doubt that the water is still choppy. I came to the conclusion a few nights ago that this is no longer a personal decision, but it is a decision of duty. We'll stay with you.
Now we have a short break coming up, but first, remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. We continue with more information. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning said on Tuesday that Beijing is willing to deepen understanding, strengthen friendships, and enhance cooperation with friends from around the world. The statement was made at a press conference during the 20th edition of the Western China International Fair, the WCIF, which opened on Sunday in Chengdu, the capital of the country's southwest province of Sichuan. The event showcased cutting-edge technologies and diverse products, with more than 3,000 companies from 62 countries and regions in attendance.
This year marks the 25th anniversary of the 20th edition of the Western China International Fair and the 25th anniversary of China's strategy for large-scale development of the Western region. Over the past 25 years, especially in the new era, as China has further opened up to the world, the Western region has transformed from a defender of openness into a vanguard. News vitality and technological innovation has continuously emerged, and a fresh atmosphere of green development has been fully displayed. Throughout this process, the Western China International Fair has served as an important platform to promote trade, investment, and openness in the Western region, becoming a golden business card that highlights the development of Western China.
At least 5 people died following an explosion at a chemical plant in China's Shandong province. The incident, which occurred in the morning, left 19 people with minor injuries and 6 others missing. According to local authorities, several buildings near the chemical plant were damaged and black smoke could be seen blowing into the sky. Chinese authorities are currently investigating the cause of the explosion. And at the Asian-China GCC summit in Malaysia, the government of China expressed its commitment to strengthening global trade, setting an example of openness and cooperation. During his speech at the summit, Chinese Premier Li Qiang called for a collaborative development of an inter-regional model to connect the markets of Southeast Asia and the Arab Gulf. The initiative is aimed at establishing a space for development and economies with greater freedom and convenience for trade and investment on a globally significant scale. In this regard, Premier Li Qiang indicated that China is willing to strengthen macroeconomic policies and professional industrial collaboration with ASEAN and the GCC based on mutual respect and equality.
China is willing to work with ASEAN and GCC countries to strengthen the alignment of development strategies, deepen regional integration cooperation, and enhance the level of trade and investment liberalization and facilitation. At the same time, we must all firmly uphold the multilateral trading system with the World Trade Organization at its core and promote the creation of a stable and orderly international market environment. In the face of escalating geopolitical conflicts and confrontation, we must remain committed to deepening mutual trust and enhancing solidarity. Only in this way can we create long-term strategic opportunities.
And on other topics, despite external attempts to hinder cooperation between the two nations, Russia and Turkey seek to expand bilateral cooperation. Following his meeting with Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov confirmed his country's interest in pursuing a positive bilateral agenda. Lavrov reaffirmed Moscow's and Ankara's position, particularly given the West's attempts to introduce illegitimate complications into the relations between the two nations. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan assured Lavrov of his government's readiness to support the resolution of Russian-Ukrainian conflict in any way possible. And Russia warned that the U.S. Gold Dome missile defense project could undermine global strategic stability. The spokeswoman for the Russian Foreign Ministry, Maria Zakharova, denounced that the security proposal of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, aimed at blocking alleged threats from China and Russia. In this regard, North Korea also accused the Trump administration of wanting to militarize space with this system. Pyongyang recently claimed that Washington is seeking to provoke a nuclear arms race and space control to raise global tensions. We have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you'll be able to watch our top stories, special live coverages, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notifications to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away.
El mundo se mueve constantemente y todos los días se generan nuevos sucesos. Se mueve la geopolítica mundial. Nos preguntamos qué hay detrás de cada acontecimiento, cuáles son las consecuencias y cómo nos afectan. Ante estas preguntas, buscaremos poner el punto en la I.
Welcome back from the south. Israeli troops attacked an area around a humanitarian aid distribution point in Rafah set up by a U.S. company to deliver food to Palestinians. According to local media, the U.S. company lost control of the delivery site, which was completely destroyed after the attack of Israeli helicopters that opened fire on the Palestinian civilians. Since the return of hostilities in the Gaza Strip on March 2nd, Israel has been blocking access to humanitarian aid, denying Palestinians everything from food to medicine. And amidst uncertainty and criticism surrounding alleged Israeli humanitarian plans for Palestine, the director of the humanitarian organization that was operating in the Gaza Strip, backed by the United States and Tel Aviv, unexpectedly resigned. According to reports, the director resigned due to the organization's inability to act in accordance with humanitarian principles. This event called into question the credibility of the West's humanitarian projects in besieged Gaza. Meanwhile, Israeli troops advanced several hundred meters into Lebanese territory on Tuesday in violation of the ceasefire deal between both nations. According to Lebanese authorities, the Israeli troops moved toward the area of Meis al-Jabal village near the border. However, the Israeli army has not yet issued an official comment on the incident. Under the ceasefire deal, Israel was supposed to fully withdraw from southern Lebanon by January 26, but the deadline was extended to February 18th after it refused to comply. Lebanese authorities have reported thousands of Israeli violations of the truce, including death and injuries as a result of Israeli fire. The Zionist regime still maintains a military presence at 5 border outposts. On a related topic, Houthi military spokesman Yahya Saree informed on a special military operation by Yemeni forces targeting Israeli locations in retaliation for the Zionist regime's crimes against Palestinians in Gaza.
The missile force of the Yemeni armed forces carried out a special dual military operation using two ballistic missiles. One of them a hypersonic missile of the Palestine II type, which targeted Lod Airport, named Ben Gurion by Israelis, in the occupied city of Jaffa. The other one was of the Zulfiqar type, and targeted a vital site of the Zionist enemy east of the occupied Jaffa area. The operation successfully achieved its objectives, by the grace of God, causing millions of occupying Zionists to flee to shelters, and halting activity at the airport. The crime of genocide against our brothers in the Gaza Strip, along with the siege and starvation, is a crime unprecedented in human history, one that compels all free people in our nation and around the world to act in support of justice and humanity.
During her morning press conference, Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum condemned the Israeli massacre against the Palestinian population and stressed that the country's foreign policy seeks to establish peace.
Bueno, primero condenamos esta situación. Segundo,
well, first we condemn this situation. Secondly, what we seek is peace, and that is the foreign policy in our country. So what we are looking for is to establish peace. At the time, President López Obrador made proposals both for the conflict in Ukraine and for the situation in Palestine, and the Secretary of Foreign Affairs is involved in this activity seeking, by all means, to build peace in the Gaza Strip. So this is Mexico's foreign policy, and we are following it every day.
Likewise, the Mexican head of state said that taxes on remittances do not benefit either the United States or Mexico.
La próxima semana se va también un equipo grande, tanto de senadores, senadoras como del gobierno.
Next week we will also have a large team of senators, as well as members of the Mexican government, to talk with Republican senators and also with our fellow countrymen and countrywomen who are in the United States. And then, if they want to move on to the election of the judiciary, we will talk about that issue as well. But we do not agree with taxes on remittances in any way, so we are going to do our best within the framework of the laws of the United States and of Mexico, so that all the senators know that this is something that does not benefit either the United States or Mexico.
We go now to the United States as members of the student body. Trump's administration's attacks on the prestigious institution just days before their graduation. According to a university series official, the Trump administration is asking federal agencies to cancel remaining contracts with Harvard University. The government already has canceled more than $2.6 billion in federal research grants for the Ivy League school, which has pushed back on the administration's demands for changes to several of its policies. The efforts by President Donald Trump's administration to prevent Harvard University from enrolling international students have struck at the core of the Ivy League school's identity and unsettled current and prospect students around the world.
I think it's a real shame because I've met so many incredible students from the Graduate School of Education who are international students, and some of my best friends are from the international space, and I've learned so much from them. And I think when we start limiting the diversity of the student body, then it's really limiting the learning experiences for students, because it's not just about what we learn in the classroom, it's also about the interactions in the space, in out of classroom spaces and peer interactions.
I just think it is so ridiculous and abominable to do that to students who are coming here for their own interests and for the benefit of all of us, actually, but to do that and harm them with the goal of coercing a university is just abominable, to be honest.
And like this, we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok as well. For TeleSUR English, my name is Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.